I want to get to the idea is living things, okay? Specifically humans, but comparison, so we can draw conclusions about humans from said living things. Because so far in the universe, we're on Earth, that's it. So as far as we're concerned, this is what we have to deal with. And this is the scale of living things that exists. Rock, nothing, blah, 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 up the chain until we hit humans. So what are humans then, and why are they at the top? What makes them special? Blah, blah, blah. What separates them? And what does that separation mean, to us? And then what do we do with that understanding from that separation? So what I want to highlight is the passage of time for each living thing, okay? So a tree's passing of time from birth, you could say, is the growing of a seed from its father, and then it drops to the ground, okay, gets planted in an area, and it is then passage of time happens, okay, grows towards light. It is watered. It is on rocky soil. It doesn't get enough water. It is in a shady area. It dies, etc., etc. And from that, we can look at humans. A tree grows just physically, okay? You water it and you put it in the sun. It's going to grow, and it's going to become the best tree that tree could be in that position, etc. But when you look at a human, then where a human is planted, and what makes a human grow not only physically but metaphysically, because there's another space inside of humans that does not exist in any other living things. You take an axe to a tree and hit it once, it's going to leave a physical scar, physical indent, but the tree's not going to say, ow, fuck you, I hate you. And it's not going to be...
Some trees...
No, don't tell me that we just don't understand trees, okay? That's not the fucking thing.
Some trees have a way. No,
no, they don't.
Some trees... No.
Okay.
Yes.
If you're going to say that the whole time, I'm just going to leave, because that serves no purpose.
Just leave. If you came over here just to say
it serves no purpose.
Why are we here? No, but listen. Of course, they don't say, fuck you. But there are some trees who actually become poisonous once you burn them. Okay? So like if you burn the tree starts like excreting like poisonous things that can kill you.
But it's not the tree that's creating it. That's the action of you burning the tree.
Stop getting into specifics of trees. The whole point of this...
if we go really for the precise, like you don't go and say somebody fuck you unless somebody does something that makes you say fuck you.
No, okay, what I'm saying is you don't need to go into oak trees. You don't need to go to what, okay, it's to extrapolate the relationship between the tree and what makes it grow, okay? And then a human and what makes it grow. That's what we're focusing on.
Okay.
So humans not only grow physically, okay? You can keep a human in a basement and keep it well fed, well watered, okay? It's gonna grow physically, but mentally it's gonna be twisty and turvy and upside down and all around, okay? Why is that? Oh, it's like there's another ingredient needed, another source of growth that it is required to become and grow into the proper human that it can be. So we can recognize this more when we look at childhood trauma, okay? Childhood trauma injures or, decreases the capacity or it can destroy a future or a sense of a future in a lot of ways in a human, okay? And that right there is almost the formula already, okay? It is what is done to a human, okay? It is what it grows. The sun and the rain are to a tree what love and compassion are to man, okay? That is about the best way you could put it. And like I was saying in the text, a tree can't look to the tree next to it and pour some water onto it and help it grow, it can't shine a light on it from the sun or an artificial light and help it grow towards it or whatever, okay? But a human, on the other hand, can not only go to its other human next to it and touch it and hold it, but it can help it grow by shining the light within it upon it. And that light that we're shining is the equivalent of the sun and the rain that the tree gets, which is nourishing for the being, okay, the being of it. So what is nourishing for a human? Love and compassion, okay? And understand that absolute freedom, okay, is absolute freedom, but in any scenario, okay, you can do anything, okay? But what if the answer to anything is just that, love and compassion? Nothing else. Meaning an action taken as a human, okay, you know, is kind of everything you are, okay? Because a human changes its being, a tree doesn't change its being, and a human changes its being through action. So therefore, man is everything that he does, okay? So if you are everything you do, withholding of action can be considered loving and compassion as well. Take this for example. You are falsely prosecuted, okay? You have the option to fight, ridicule, you know, slander, etc., even kill the other accuser or whatever, okay? You have infinite freedom options. But what if the ultimate freedom and use of your freedom, the ultimate light that a human can use in that scenario to make others around them grow, is the withholding of action then? Because the understanding that you can do something but don't is a very important part of being human. And oh, I lost it there.
I guess where the phrase is derived from, if you don't have anything good to say, don't say anything.
And it is also, do unto others what you would have them do unto you. As a tree, would you not wish, if you could water another tree, you're going to give it what it needs, a light and water, okay? Because as a tree, that's all you can perceive that can be grown, right? As the freedom of a tree, that's your only concept of it. You grow towards things that give you life, okay? But as a human, we can grow towards things that not only give us life, but we can also grow towards things that give us death. Okay, this is vastly different than any other living thing. Trees don't, well, there might be certain species, you know, that try to self-destruct, but then that's just the beauty of nature. But as a thing, as a being, it naturally grows towards what makes it a better tree, right? And for a human, you could say it is technically easiest to grow towards love and compassion. But when that being is growing into a being, meaning childhood, and it is not watered and shown the correct light, it can then grow, and not only doesn't want to grow towards that which makes it a better human, but would rather grow towards the opposite and encourages others to do so. And they love death. Trees can't love death. Humans, on the other hand, can. They can hate all living things and want to destroy them. Trees cannot. And when you abuse a child, okay, you are destroying the possibility of good in it, which is evil, is it not? The evil, as we've agreed upon, is any decision that destroys the possibility of good. And if that's the case, you know, the answer is obvious then. It's to let the light shine so that good deeds are reflection, upon others. Because the importance here is witness, to witness something. Humans are the only thing that bear witness to something. You understand that? There's nothing else in the world that can bear witness to something. Humans are the only thing. So anything that humans witness then has a major impact on them. And as I said, each man is his deeds, and each man helps another man grow by witnessing what the other man does. Because monkey see, monkey do, right? If you're the only human on earth, what the fuck are you gonna do? You have to know. There's some precedence, right? There's relationships forms. There's expectations and precedents met or set upon you. Okay, through your father, through your grandfather, through your family, et cetera. But as a human, you can look at those and then decide whether or not they are actually making you grow or not. That is what everyone does.
Well, I'm driving, so I cannot see much, but I can see his brother.
You look at what has been shown upon you as a child, and then you grow up and then change how you be accordingly. So you tell yourself, oh, I'm not going to spank my child. That's a reflection. You're reflecting upon yourself and the impact it had on you and the growth it had on you and how it made you grow. And you don't want to water your seed as you would water in that sense, okay? Because that water is poisonous to in your perception. So the key is to identify holy water and ambrosia, the food that makes us, and it's not physical food, it's not physical water, it's metaphysical.
But okay. See, there are so many references to this.
I got frozen.
Do I lose you? It's her. Okay, I thought it was my connection.
My connection's bad. I don't see. Oh, there we go.
No, it's their connection.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
And now we can, but not before. The last thing you said is something about references, and we cannot hear anymore.
What is going on? Sorry, it's Yusha's phone, and I don't know how to work this one. So can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. It got disconnected from that, so there was no signal. Okay, so what I was saying was that knowledge could be referred to, or mostly knowledge is referred to as water. So when somebody receives knowledge, it's as if you're watering their brain, or you're basically nourishing them. So could it be that a person becomes more dangerous instead of just being deadly? You know how when you water plants with the poisonous water, the plant eventually dies, right? Like it just turns brown and it just can't survive anymore. But what if with humans it's more dangerous, where instead of dying because of the poisonous water, the human turns toxic themselves?
Exactly. And that's exactly what I'm saying. That's why the world is shit. You as a child, you look at the world and go, why is the world evil? It's because you grow up and you realize that the evil men in the world and the men in power don't love the world. They hate it. They hate it. And so they continue the destruction of it because that's what they love. That was so good. That was so good. Ooh, yes, that was very good.
Wait. Instead of saying that they don't love the world, instead, could we say that they weren't like nourished with love, or for example, they didn't receive?
Exactly right.
We get vaccines, and vaccines are like the same stuff that you're supposed to get immune to. What if they never got that vaccine shot? What if they don't know how to love the world? Is because they don't know that there is an option available for that.
They were not watered with love and compassion. Exactly. They don't have the formula. They didn't have the ingredients for that human to grow in them. And so they reach that level. That's why the abuse cycle continues. It's all about the abuse cycle. Okay. It's all about breaking a cycle and changing. That's what it is, because humans have the ability to reflect and change.
Break is most of the time it's external forces. Breaking is never internal, right? So whenever you exert force on something, you break something. Otherwise, when it's internal, it's considered transformation. So could it be looked at two ways, in terms that okay, it's you could either transform the cycle or you can break it, or do you have to break the cycle for it to be non-abusive or non-destructive?
What it is, it's there's two paths that a human takes when it's, poisoned. It either overcomes it and is better from it and wears the scars beautifully, or it embraces it and turns cold and its heart to stone. And when a man's heart is turned to stone, nothing can penetrate it. There's no metaphysical growth coming from it, or that it is receiving then from any other water that it is being received. It could witness the best thing happen in the world, but then still turn around and continue the dismay that we see. It is more multiplied or obvious when power and money come into play, because it allows for more freedom, and humans with more freedom means they're going to do more. But that also, it's power. And those that were poisoned would then seek power and then use it to abuse it, just as they were not in a position of power and were abused.
Okay, but I have a question, Marcus. More than a question, like something that I want to explore. Because I think Extra mentioned something. Because okay, let's say that there is a person who grew without any type of love, and regardless of that poisonous water or whatever, doesn't necessarily mean that the person is going to sometimes some people under very extreme circumstances they still just manage to be good. But if they're not being watered with that, like there should be something else happening inside of them that makes them grow that inside the poisonous water. So like what is that? Like what analogy can we find beside water? Because if there is nothing outside that is bringing that to him necessarily, like it has to be some sort of like energy or something that fills this person with the at least the intention of the action of not doing what he has been receiving. Like it has to be something else.
So
Because
take this perspective that we're talking about, which is abuse of humans, and it is the equivalent of not shining your light upon a human, or letting that light shine by putting it on a sill. That equivalent of your child would be loving it and nurturing it, and then giving it the sill to sit on and shine. What you're doing then is you're locking that candle in a cage that is a concrete cage, blocked off, and it can never shine. And no one else can see the shine because you've locked it away metaphysically. Now, take it not.
But sometimes even
what that
looking everything, they still shine. So like I'm trying to see why. Like what type of energy do you think involves in it? Like it has to be some sort of interior energy that we all have that we actually get like that is based on decision.
It's the capacity to do good. That's what it is. It's the action. It's the capacity to look at something, knowing that you can do it or that you should, and then not doing it, etc. And then recognizing from that, or giving it a description. Okay, so it's imagine that. Okay. Yeah.
But in that scenario, it means that we as human beings, continuing the whole analogy of a tree, we don't only depend on sun, we don't only depend on water. We have some sort of energy inside of us that also like it doesn't depend on anybody but itself.
That's exactly what I've been saying. That's exactly.
Hey, two things.
The thing inside of us is what grows from the light and the water. Okay.
Wait. There's two things, right? There's basically we're referring to as light as the source of food for the plant, right? For the source of nourishment. For us, it's nourishment, which is nutrients, food, etc. For humans, if you look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, it perfectly describes on what generates a perfect situation for a human to reach its full potential and be able to self-evaluate and whatnot. So that being said, until and unless you cannot expect a person to be emotionally intelligent if the first thing that they worry about is not having dinner, right? The person is more concerned about eating and fulfilling their hunger versus being able to love someone, versus being able to find shelter, provide for someone, and stuff like that. So when it comes to a person and nourishment and what and that sort of thing, it's it's always gonna end up at Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Why? Because it encompasses everything as it is, as we're discussing right now. So the man or the person inside that needs growing, or the person's growth that we're assessing in this meeting, would be highly dependent on their physical aspect first and metaphysical secondarily. So let's say the person has shelter, they have food, and yeah, they're not in need of shelter nor food, right? Now comes the point of if they have what they need to go to the next level of the pyramid. For example, love, satisfaction, gratification, self-awareness. Maybe the person has shelter and food, but they don't love themselves, right? They might hate their body or whatever. And then at the top, it has self-actualization. Let me show you. So at the bottom here, they have physical needs. At the bottom in the red, they have physiological needs, then safety needs. Then safety needs, belongingness and love needs, and then esteem. And on the top, you have self-actualization. So when we come to thanks, Yusra. So when we come to talk about how the growth of our inside man is limited, it would be highly dependent on these 5 aspects mentioned in Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Yes, yes, I agree. It's as if it's the rich child growing up in the big house that's still abused. That's what that is. It's the poor kid that doesn't have food and housing but has a loving family. Those are the two, sides of the same coin.
Should we record this?
Yeah, we are.
Let's take a look at this one. So with each plant, you can't just take a plant and just put it in soil and expect it to grow, right? You need a certain type of environment for that plant, that specific plant to grow. So if humans are considered as individual plants, I'd say the adversities and the problems that we all face are all unique to our own plants being grown. In terms that, for example, if the life is too easy for a rich boy, they never learn to value what money is. They never know what it means to share. They never know what it means to care for others or give something just because they want to, and so on, right? Vice versa, if it's not a rich boy growing up, if it's a really, really poor guy growing up, they never know what it means to spend on your family. They never know what it means to surprise somebody impromptu, and so on and so forth. The adversities that we all face and the challenges we all have that makes is the kind of resistance we all need from life in order to be able to grow. What do you mean? My goodness, Yusra.
But see, here we're not talking about plants. That was just an analogy that Marcus was giving me because I didn't realize his pitch at the beginning. So for him, for how he understands it, or how I understand it at least, is that plants grow linear. No matter what, a plant is gonna grow given the right conditions and circumstances. Marcus, feel free to cut me off if I'm saying it wrong.
Describe linear.
See, they only grow, they expand, they get wider and taller, they get more branches.
They either grow into a good tree or they don't. Like or it is.
But a human physically could be crippled or half dead or whatever, but their intellect, you can take Stephen Hawking into account, right? Their intellect and their ability to do for others is how is that grown? For example, a baby doesn't know that it has to share its food with another child who doesn't have food. We teach our children that, hey, you got to share your food because he doesn't have it.
No, okay, I think that comparison is a little flawed because the plant does grow like a human being. Like you can actually put word for word, you can put analogy towards the growth of a human being versus the growth of a plant. For example, yes, it does grow linearly.
In a linear way.
The growth is linear, okay, but it's not linear for every plant. For some of them, it's sometimes the growth just stays there. For example, the evergreen trees. They never, like, after a certain point, they stop growing. They don't grow any taller. They don't have any more leaves to have. That is it. They stop. They don't die. They don't do anything. But with human beings' growth is always linear. If we can agree to, because even if we're not doing anything, we're still learning and we're still applying the knowledge that we learned, whether it is to make the right decision or the wrong decision or to make no decision at all. It's still a decision in itself, right? So in that case, I think comparison in that way might make sense.
Okay, but I think like when Yusha was meaning linear is like it's just like there is no change. Like when we're like
Physically.
yeah, I mean not necessarily physically. I think like at least what I was taking from Yusha is that sometimes people can be in a growth process and there is some event that happened that they actually go the other way around. They start like acting good. They start like doing something that it was for their own benefit or their own like. So they actually like go backwards. So it's not like linear. It's more like everywhere, based on the decisions and the actions that you do. So that's what I was taking like Yusha's comment, and I think at some level is what Marcus was trying to refer. Because a tree, at least in that analogy, is just as you said, once they reach a point, that's it. Like that's all there is. Like by itself, it's not gonna do either good tree, bad tree. Just it's just it. When we can maybe have somebody who is good and then it's not good, and
Yes.
then like it's kind of okay, but then it's good again, and you have this like back and forth that is just not linear. It's like moving in different directions,
The
and it's
biggest
like a very
importance is to focus on the aspect of change and to understand that as a being that decides its being, while you decide your being, you are shining the light of your being on other beings in their deciding factors as well. Because they're looking at you being your being at the same time as trying to figure out how they are being. Okay. So that's the difference between us and trees. A tree doesn't look to another tree to figure out how to be a tree. Okay. A human must look to another human to figure out how to be a human. Okay. To be a good one. So this is where setting an example, giving sacrifice, setting a witness, or withholding action can grow your fellow human. Say you're at a bar, okay? You're with your or any public place, okay? And some some kind of tension happens, and then there's an opportunity for a tussle where you are given the chance to physically encounter, someone else, okay? And that's the being that you're setting for yourself in that moment. But all the other beings around you, specifically your seed, your children, are then going to see that being and reflect upon it because that light has now shone upon them in a certain light. But if you withhold the action, that is also shining light. It is showing that you are being a certain way, a being of a certain being. And so then they understand that they can be that same way. They don't have to go to war to shoot another man just because they've seen countless other men go to war and shoot other men, or because they're told to go by the superiors. It is within each and every individual to turn into themselves and decide that they don't want to be part of the war. If all men said no to war, all these other men with these medals on their chest that are trying to send them to war couldn't do war. They could not. So it is up, the responsibility lies within everyone to turn into themselves, to see that light, and then to let it shine. That I think is my conclusion. And I think I will also wrap up soon because that's a good conclusion. I'll give us until 7 because I got to watch a show.
conclusion. I'm gonna then start playing devil's advocate. We're gonna
Does
end
that
like
sound
that. Too easy.
How did that make you guys feel?
Like it is too easy.
What?
Well, see, Marcus, I agree with you to some extent. Like, let's take a more recent culture, right? Even until the 1900s, there used to be men who would use and abuse women to their heart's content, and no one would do anything because that was just the norm of the society, right? 20th century came along where women fought for their rights, fought for what is right, fought for equality and everything. 21st century comes along. Now it has become normal to treat everyone equal. Not exactly equal, because of course biological differences and there's some other stuff, but they are fairly equal. You don't see every other household or man or any male person executing their force over a female person, right? So that's
This is
where I agree.
this is where the law of do unto others as you would have them do unto you is so crucial, because that is almost the best way to let your light shine. Because what you're doing then is you are putting out into the world exactly what you want back, which is to be the best human. So to be the best human, I'm not going to punch someone else in the face because I don't want that to happen to me. You know,
See,
I'm not going to get
that's
into a
what I'm saying.
conflict, or I'm not going to kill someone else because I don't want to be killed. And I'm not going to falsely accuse or lie about another because I don't want someone to do that to me. But
That's
rather, when you love all,
that is that is our understanding of what a good human is supposed to be. Say, um, Torah, Bible, Quran, and the Zabur, the four religious books, right? Because in those books we're taught that, oh, you should be a good person. What is the definition of a good person? A good person doesn't lie, they don't steal, and there's a bunch of
oh,
different other
but
categories
what I'm saying
as
is we
well.
can reach that conclusion through logic, is what I'm trying to say. We should reach that conclusion through logic.
Yeah,
Because
now,
what I'm trying to tell you is the men in charge are atheists. And so then they look at that and they go, fuck it, I can do whatever the fuck I want because there's no consequences to anything. What I'm trying to do is convince through logically, because we can reach that shit logically, right? We should be able to. It doesn't just have to be like, oh, the book says it's true, so we have to do it. I want to show them that it's possible, even without, like, I want to reach that conclusion logically, so it's infallible. You know what I mean? That's why I go to the tree, into the being of a tree, and then the being of a human, and how to be the best human. Don't lie, don't kill. You reach those conclusions naturally
that's
as you
that's
go about
the
trying to
because
discover what makes a good human.
Because if you take the Mongols, if you take the Barbers, the Tartars, and all of those people from history, Genghis Khan, you have
Yeah.
so many role models, right? Examples, role models, whatever you want to call them. You have so many of those. They did that because they thought that way of life was correct. Even in even in recent history, you can take a look at Vikings. They did what they did: pillage, rape, murder, fights, drinking, adultery, whatever have you. Anything that is opposite to what we believe a good person is, they believed is the good person. So here comes the point. If all men, women, every person on the planet Earth decides that we don't want war, regardless if anyone's pushing or anything like that, they say we don't want war, we're not gonna go to war, we're not gonna fight, right? Then comes along this one retarded ass person who says, fuck you, you're not fighting. Okay, I'll kill you and I'll take the land by force. So, according to that one deranged person, he is doing what is right. For he thinks that my people are growing, my people need more land means more resources, more resources means better living equals a good, healthy, full life, right? So so that being said, with what the Europeans did, coming to the United States, what the English did over India, what the Germans did over all of Europe. So according to each person, their own definition of what is good, righteous, right, perfect, it varies, because even between the three of us, right? We have a Christian, a Buddhist. I'm assuming a Christian, Marcus. I'm sorry. A
Yes, yes,
Christian,
you're right.
Buddhist, and a Muslim, right? So I'm just making it hypothetical. You might think that, oh my God, Yusha is a Muslim. He has long hair. He has beard. He speaks Arabic. So of course he's here to spread terrorism, and all that kind of stuff. Me looking at you as a Christian, I'm saying, okay, he's here to negate. Yeah, he's here to negate everything that I stand for. He's here to spread alcohol, promote the consumption of pork, promote premarital affairs and stuff like that. And then both of us, we say that, okay, God is one. We agree that God is one, and He has sent many messengers, books, and prophets, and whatever, right? We agree to that. We say that you're good, I'm good, because we believe in the same thing. Then we look at Ferdinando and say that, oh, he's a Buddhist. He doesn't even believe in God, right? So we start going after his beliefs and say that, oh, your beliefs are wrong. You believe in a stone, you know. Yeah, we say that, okay, we settle disputes in a certain way. You settle disputes in another way. You meditate differently than us. You pray differently than us. You don't pray, we pray. It could be any difference that we can find. So welcome to humanity, where every person says that, okay, if I'm benefiting from it, the other person can go f themselves. And what's it called? Oh shit. Yeah, I'm sorry. The other person can go f themselves, and I'm with.
Oh no, you cut off there right at the end, and you're with what? I missed the last part. You said they say F you.
Yeah, I lost connection. So they say F you, I'm done because I've lost interest in this person, whether romantically, physically, or anything of that sort. And we see this in nature as well. Since we're already at the analogy of plants, you see plants that grow on vines. For example, grapes, there's money plant, there's mushrooms even that don't necessarily harm the parent plant or the main plant, but they benefit it. For example, they get more water from a bigger tree when they're attached to it. They get more shade, less animals try to eat it, that kind of stuff. There's a symbiotic relationship between the two. It can be said same for humans, where okay, today Marcus is bringing me gifts every day, or for example, Marcus is bringing me food every day, so I don't need to cook or anything like that. And on the other hand, the day that you realize that Yusha is using Marcus, the day that you realize that Yusha is only using Marcus because Marcus brings him food, you're gonna say, "Wait a minute, what's going on here?" Then you're gonna come to the realization that I've been used, and that is the moment where your inner human comes out and says, "Okay, now I must fight for what is mine."
I will leave us. This has been so good, man. I love this. I'll leave us with this one note, and I love everything that you said, Yusha. Like shit, that was great. Uh, there's a scene in the movie 42. It's about Jackie Robinson, the first African
Yeah, yeah.
American baseball player. When he first steps up to the plate, all the men in the stands, everyone, just all the adults, they start yelling, cursing, calling him the N word hard, all of this. And then in the midst of all that is one of the children of the men doing that. And he looks around, he's looking at Jackie, and Jackie looked up at him for a second. But the kid looks at his dad, looks at his mom yelling at Jackie, and he doesn't know what to do. So then, looking at his parents and looking at everyone around him, he starts to do the very same thing. And we're all just mirrors with the light inside of all of us, and we're shining and reflecting on each and every one of us. That's what it is.
Oh no, yeah, of course. I mean, that is what, as we were talking about in the group chat on WhatsApp, that is what makes us better than any other creation on planet Earth. Why? Because we have the ability to reflect. For example, I litter, right? I throw bottles out my window, beer cans, whatever, tissues, and I see you who comes after me and cleans them and picks them up, and then you take them to whatever proper place that they need to go to. I realized that, hey, it's because of me that this person has to do extra work, right? And I say, okay, I'll put a bin inside my car. I'll put a trash bag in my car so I can just throw it there, so that this person doesn't have to do that. That is first step where I'm self-actualizing that I'm at fault. Next step, I see you again tomorrow, that you're picking up after someone else, not me this time, right? This time I say, okay, now he's doing that for someone else. I come and help you. So in the end, you become my indirect role, well, actually direct role model, where I reflected upon myself and I picked up on something good that you were doing.
Exactly.
Of course, a plant doesn't have that. A plant is like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm at the edge of a cliff. I'll fall off in 30 years. fuck that. I don't need to move. I'll just fall and die. Then call it a day.
Oh, that was great. That was great. That was a good conclusion. Well, shit. All right, I gotta head out now. This has
All right.
been very spicy, very good. Orlando said
Thanks.
he was going to be off work at 7, but that means he wouldn't even be able to talk until probably like 7:30, 7:40, knowing him. But thank you guys for joining me. Shit, that was really good. I really needed that. I needed it. My soul
Thanks
needed it.
for sitting, bro.
I will text you guys next time I am inspired, which will be very soon, I am sure. And I will see you guys hopefully at next week's meeting. If all goes according to plan. So next time,
Oh, by
guys.
the way,
Yeah.
fall meetings, we decided that we're gonna keep it very open. For example, like we're not gonna even decide on what we're gonna discuss on in the weekly meetings for the fall. No, for the summer meetings. I'm sorry. For the summer meetings because we have less people, but they communicate more. So we're just
Yeah.
gonna keep the topic open. If one topic is
So-
derived from another, if it keeps on evolving, then we're just gonna roll with it. Just so you're in the loop. That's what we discussed last time.
Bet. That sounds really good. I like that. I like it.
Take care, man.
All right, y'all too. See you, Fernando, and see you later, Yusha. Thank you guys so much. So much.
Good night,
Speaking of
guys.
reflections,
Bye-bye.
bam. See yourself.
All right, guys. Bye bye.
I think you guys just finished. Okay.